Joyride, 1957, a novel of intrigue by J.P. Wasnor, Chapter 70. Do you have a James here in the hospital? The KGB agent asked the next morning. That information is confidential. Are you a relative? The St. Peter's Hospital receptionist said. No, I'm sorry. Is there anything else I can help you with? She asked. No, thank you. Oh, where is the chaplain's office? She pointed down the hall. He strode in that direction, and within minutes he knew James was a patient in the ICU. The twins rolled their red Thunderbird across prairie and mountain, arriving by evening in Butte, Montana. They were exhausted. They secured adjoining rooms at the Finian Hotel and each got into their respective tubs. They ordered room service and soaked the evening away. The German agent, a new man who replaced the agent lost in the Kansas Twister, actually his cousin, rented a 57 Nash Ambassador. It was lime green with a white top and black side slashes. It was powered by a 327 cubic inch V8 engine developing 255 horsepower. The car was also equipped with overdrive, a higher gear, and the German ran it wide open across North Dakota and Montana, arriving in Missoula, Montana by sunset. He and his companion, the Israeli, Rebecca, took a room at the Florence Hotel, ate huge steak suppers, and hit the silk sheets covering a king bed. Veronica, the British agent, and Nora, the Times reporter, arrived in Pasco, Washington very late. It was almost 2 a.m. They were to transfer trains and arrive in Portland, Oregon by 7 a.m. Both called their respective directors, and after the calls, took a room in the Cunningham Hotel in Pasco. It was now 9 a.m., and James had remained in coma for 24 hours. It was his second coma in a week, and Dr. Durand was becoming less confident his patient would recover. The dilated right pupil was returning to normal size, but there was no response to painful stimuli and no effort to take breaths. The respirator kept breathing for him through the endotracheal tube. Vital signs were otherwise stable, and there was no evidence of further intracranial bleeding, but Misty stayed at his bedside for the most part and talked to him at some length about what had happened, but he did not appear to hear or understand her. The morning paper, the Helena Independent Record, carried the story of James' ordeal and subsequent admission in coma. Everybody following him now knew his whereabouts and condition, so they all stayed put for the time being, expecting that he might have used up all of his 9 lives. IV fluids ran in all day, and nurses were in and out. The black-haired nurse came on for the evening shift and tried to keep Misty out of the room as much as possible, with some success. She was almost gushily pleasant when Dr. Durand came by around 6. She could not stop smiling when Misty turned down his invitation for supper, saying she had to dine with the governor. As the doctor was leaving James' room, the nurse grabbed his arm and kissed him on the lips. "See you at midnight, baby," she said. He nodded, but his thoughts were with his patient, who was not recovering as expected. He decided to make another call to Spokane for further consultation with Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone had no further recommendations, and he and Dr. Durand both knew it would just be a waiting game. They each knew from experience that waiting was every doctor's worst nightmare. He went back in to see James once more, reassured Misty and the nurse that all was stable and it would just take time. He then heard the call over the intercom. "Dr. Durand to the ER stat."